thoughts on the scrimmages today?
It was good, because we want to get them back into the rhythm of playing. So being able to bring out our under 23s, and mix and match and play was important for us. And you want to make sure that your first time you get bumped or first time you get thrown to the ground isn't in the Montreal game. So we had a little bit of that here today, but it was good. There was some good ball movement early, and it was good for the guys to get 50 minutes in.
I guess I know Josh played, Steve played. Kind of what were your thoughts on how they looked there in their session?
It was good. I mean, it's the first time Josh has been able to jump into a game situation for us. So he obviously he got scored against on, but it was a good goal. But he did all right. He handled his stuff well. Steve did all right. There was a little more defensive work for him because his team didn't have the ball as much. So that was good. But he got into it a little bit with Zach Scott and with Jeff Parks. So that's good for him as well.
Any thoughts on the 23s team or individuals?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Any thoughts on the 23s as a team or individuals?
No, it's good. I mean, obviously they're doing well. I know they've moved to the top of their division up here. And they've had 3 wins in a row. So, a lot of the kids are kids who've come out of our academy, and some of the other kids that they've invited in, have done very well. So it's good for them to get good results. It was good for them to come out today against us too, so they can see exactly where they are in comparison to that level.
I suppose a long break could go either way. How do you feel like your team is responding, getting back on the field, practicing during game now?
It's always, when you have a break, it always takes you a little bit of time to get back into the rhythm and into the groove of what you're doing. And, generally teams stutter a little bit when they come back from those breaks. But every team has sort of done the same sort of thing. They've taken breaks at different times. Some came back a little bit earlier to training, some because of Open Cup games like ourselves took the break a little bit later. So it's going to be similar for everybody, but I'm pleased. We wanted to train some obviously on the first day to get guys back into the rhythm. We wanted to do more today, which we did. We want to be able to get some training in tomorrow, and then Thursday, because us going to Montreal ends up being a lost day, because with flights and connections and going through customs and everything else, we'll be lucky if we can get into a gym and get something done in the gym. That's probably all we're going to do on Thursday. So we really wanted to get 3 days of good work before we left on Thursday, and we're well on the way to that.
When you went through a similar stretch to what you're about to face back in May, how much of a question was the quality of your depth that you had on the roster, and how much of that kind of was reinforced by how well you guys played?
Well, we weren't able to use a lot of depth in the back because of the injuries, so those guys had to do yeoman work. So obviously they're hoping, would Leo play today 25 minutes? We think Ayani's going to be able to be back into part of training, so hopefully there'll be a little more depth for them. But certainly it became a very good period of time, especially with the Open Cup games for Caskey, for an Andy Rose, for a Cordell Cato, to sort of prove their mettle and what they can do. And when the team saw what they could do, obviously those players gained confidence through their performances, but the rest of the players also gained confidence in those players through what they saw. So it's definitely, a more comforting time, than it was maybe the last time, just because you sort of have an idea now what those guys can do.
One of those guys, one of those young guys getting playing time, Brian Meredith. Kind of, what have you seen from him? Kind of what's impressed you about what he's been able to do in the last 6 months?
He's got a very good presence and demeanor. He comes with a good attitude every day to train. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, which is important for a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers as well as center forwards have to have good selective amnesia. I think that's important for them, and I think Brian has that. And it's one of the things I liked about him the first time we saw him, is that I thought he had a good game presence about him, and he's been able to maintain that, and doesn't get flustered too much.
Is David Estrada okay?
We hope so. They took him off out of precautions, and so we'll see. We think it's just he turned his ankle or his midfoot a little bit. So we got to get a feel for that.
When do you see Geschberning returning?
We're easy with him on this week, and then we'll start to ramp him up again next week. And it's really only when we start ramping him up that we'll have an idea when he'll actually be back.
Anything else?
Words are powerful. I'm Sigi Schmid. Hearing the words retard and retarded makes people with intellectual disabilities and those who love them feel like less valued members of humanity. That's why we're asking you to help spread the word to end the R word. Stop by the Special Olympics booth and Soccer Celebration to pledge your support. It's time to respect and value people with intellectual disabilities. Please join us in eliminating this offensive language in everyday speech. Thank you.